Good morning and welcome to BHF Radio. You're listening to me, Bhavini Makwana, on Saturday the 17th of April. How is everyone doing this morning? We've got a packed show today. We've got guests from an eye hospital coming to speak to us about producing different content in different languages. So we often hear about these eye conditions. We often hear about resources. But actually, does everyone know what they mean? All the clinical terms that are given. So we'll be hearing more about this initiative, where we've got Dr Sana and Dr Chinedu joining us shortly. But before we do, it's the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip's funeral today. Barish is with me. Barish, do you have more details on that?
Yes, good morning everyone. The funeral today is going to be shown on national TV on multiple channels, and coverage starts from 12:30 onwards, and they're also repeating it this evening at around 8:10 as well. So yeah, just check your local listings for that.
Thank you. So we're going to listen to the first track today, which is Mara Khatama, sang by Shivali.
Mara Khatama Pirajta Srinath Ji, Yamuna Ji, Mahaprabhu Ji. Maro man ruchi gokul van ravan, Mara tanna aganiya matul sinavan, Mara pran jeevan, he Mara khatma virajta Srinath Ji, Yamuna Ji, Mahaprabhu Ji. Mara atam na agni Shri Mahakrishna Ji, Mari aankhon dishe gire dhari re dhari, Mara tan man teyo jeene vari re vari, Mara Sham Murari, he Mara khatma virajta Srinath Ji, Yamuna Ji, Mahaprabhu Ji. Mara pran thaki mani Vaishnava wala, nitya karta Srinath Ji ne kala hari wala, मैं तो वल्लभ प्रभु जी ना कीदा छे दर्शन, मारो मोहिली तू मन, हे मारा खटमा विराजता श्रीनाथ जी, यमुना जी, महाप्रभु जी. હું તો નિત્ય વિઠ્ઠલ વની સેવા રે કરું, હું તો आहटे समा गिरी झांकी रे करो, मैं तो चितरू श्रीनाथ जी ने चरणी धरू, जीवन सफल करूं, हे मारा खटमा विराजता श्रीनाथ जी, यमुना जी, महाप्रभु जी. मैं तो भक्ति मार्ग की रो संग रे साध्यो, मैं तो पुष्टि रे मार्ग की रो संग रे साध्यो, मने तो कीर्तन की रो रंग रे
ताकते रहते तुझको सांझ सवेरे नैनों में नैनों में ताकते रहते तुझको सांझ सवेरे नैनों में बसियां जैसे नैन ये तेरे नैनों में बसियां जैसे नैन ये तेरे तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन पहले पहल तुझे देखा तो दिल मेरा धड़का है धड़का धड़का है जल जल उठा हूँ मैं शोला जो प्यार का भड़का है भड़का भड़का है नींदों में घुल गए हैं सपने जो तेरे बदले से लग रहे हैं अंदाज मेरे बदले से लग रहे हैं अंदाज मेरे तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन
तुझसे शुरू हुई तुझ पे ही खात्मा हो दुनिया मेरी दुनिया दुनिया मेरी ये बात दिल में थी नैनों ने बोल दी मैं हूँ तेरी मैं हूँ तेरी तुझको ही याद करके आहे भरूं मैं मिल के भी मिल ना पाऊं अब क्या करूं मैं मिल के भी मिल ना पाऊं अब क्या करूं मैं
तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन ताकते रहते तुझको सांझ सवेरे नैनों में बसियां जैसे नैन ये तेरे नैनों में बसियां जैसे नैन ये तेरे तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन तेरे मस्त मस्त दो नैन मेरे दिल का ले गए चैन
Welcome back. You're listening to me, Bhavini Makwana, on BHF Radio. I mentioned we are talking to Dr. Sana and Dr. Chinedu, but before, I just wanted to quickly mention Happy Navratri to all those celebrating. And right here at Bolton Hindu Forum, we have a celebration this evening starting at 7 p.m. on Zoom, where you can join in, and if you would like to sing, you can get in touch with Kalaben or Mayaben. Please head over to the Bolton Hindu Forum Facebook page, where you'll find all the relevant details. So I am joined by Dr. Sana and Dr. Chinedu from Moorfields Eye Hospital. Welcome to both of you. Dr. Sana, shall we start off with you? Could you introduce yourself first?
Thanks so much, Bhavini. Yes, so my name is Sana Hamid, and as you said, I'm an eye doctor at Moorfields Eye Hospital in London. I'm currently doing my specialty post in glaucoma, and I'm really excited to be talking to you all this morning about our project.
Excellent. And Dr. Chinedu, good morning.
Good morning, Bhavini. Hello, it's lovely to speak to you today. Yes, so my name is Chinedu Igwe, and also I'm another doctor working at Moorfields, and I'm specialising in glaucoma like Sana, and we're really excited to share this new project that we're working on.
Excellent. Welcome to both of you here on BHF Radio. So the reason you're both on today, because we wanted to hear more about this new initiative. You and your colleagues have introduced this course which has information and a wealth of knowledge, and it's a fantastic resource to inform people about different eye conditions, and not just for the patients but for their family, for professionals. Can you tell us more about exactly what this is?
Yes, of course. So the modules are patient-focused courses that are online, and the glaucoma module that we've created is a comprehensive guide to all things glaucoma related. So this includes what glaucoma is, all the different types of glaucoma, and all the different treatment options such as eye drops, lasers, surgery, and there are animations and videos and images to help make all this content more understandable, including videos in many different languages. So we have covered all of the science and all of the evidence that we base our treatment on, but put this in an understandable and digestible way for patients and for their families.
That sounds really useful. Where did this idea come from, and who originated it?
So this idea actually came from Professor Nora Colton, who is a director of education at University College London. It was a particular area of interest of hers to educate patients in medical topics to empower them. And we felt this was really important to create because with less and less face-to-face appointments in hospitals, as well as the time pressures we're under in the hospital, as doctors and as healthcare professionals, we are now able to provide a source of information for patients about their condition to allow them to learn about it in their own homes, with their families, in their own time, and in their own language. And that's really powerful.
That sounds very useful indeed. I mean, our listeners have shared many times, so I'm registered blind with a condition called retinitis pigmentosa. And for the first few years, I was in denial. You wait once a year to see your consultant, and you only get about 10-15 minutes to see it.
Exactly.
And you always leave home and thinking, oh gosh, I wish I asked this, or I wanted to ask this, or I didn't know how to. So something
absolutely
you can access in your own time, or when you're ready in between your appointments. So I think It's definitely a great resource. I mean, you shared it's patient-led, but I'm guessing, a patient sitting down with their family or maybe their siblings or anyone else that might be connected to that person can also go through it with them.
Exactly.
Absolutely. It's not only aimed for the patients. I mean, primarily it is targeted for them, but it's also important. It can be used by family members and carers and close friends because, sometimes this format might not be easily accessible to people that have impaired sight. So sometimes it is nice to have someone to go through some of the material. And because we do different multiple media formats, it really makes it more accessible. And I think, as we've covered before, the main purpose of this project is to empower patients, because we hope that this course will provide information that's clear, relevant and easily accessible, but most importantly, inclusive. And that's why we've made an effort to make sure that it can be available in multiple translations and languages. Because we know that when patients have better understanding their condition, they can have better control over decisions and actions affecting their health. And we want to promote shared decision making because that is a way of providing the highest quality of care to patients.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Stay with me both, Dr. Sana and Dr. Chinedu. We're just going to go to our next track, and then I just want to find out a little bit more about this. Our next song is from Navin Kundra, and the song title is Tere Liye.
इन आँखों में देखूं तो कुछ खोया सा लगे, इन होठों पे ये हंसी झूठी लगे, तेरी इन बातों में कुछ छुपा लगे, तेरी अदाएं भी अलग सी लगे। प्यार के समुंदर में तू किन लहरों में खोई, तुमको नहीं है पता, तेरे लिए दुनिया भूल जाऊं, तेरे लिए मेरी जान, तेरे लिए सारे दिन सारी रातें, तेरे लिए आसमां। जो लम्हे साथ बिताए वो प्यार का समा, जो सपने हमने देखे उनका हुआ क्या, इस आग में ना जाने क्यों हम जल रहे, कब से अंधेरों में हम यूं ही रहे। क्या बात है जो तेरा साया भी रूठा लगे, इतनी है क्यों दूरियां, तेरे लिए दुनिया भूल जाऊं, तेरे लिए मेरी जान, तेरे लिए सारे दिन सारी रातें।
You've just heard Delalia from Navin Kundra. What a beautiful song. Welcome back. We are joined by Dr. Sana and Dr. Chinedu. We have been talking about a new excellent resource that has just been developed to educate people, to give them the information about various eye conditions, but it's available in various languages for you to access any point during your diagnosis, after, or just for family and friends to be aware of. Welcome back, Dr. Sana and Dr. Chinedu. You've created these courses to begin with the eye conditions glaucoma, uveitis, and macular degeneration. Was there any particular reason why these conditions first? And is there any plans to create them for different eye conditions?
Sure. The reason we concentrated on those conditions that you've mentioned is because they're the commonest sight-threatening conditions that require prompt diagnosis and treatment to save sight. So by increasing patients' awareness of their condition and how they can better manage it, we hope we can reduce the risk of blindness. In the case of glaucoma, some of your listeners may be surprised to hear that it's actually the leading cause of irreversible visual loss in the world. And it's a condition that many people are unfamiliar with or have never heard of before. Currently in the UK, 2% of the population over 40 have glaucoma, and 20% of over 80s have glaucoma. And this is expected to rise by 44% in 2035. And people of African Caribbean origin are 4 times more at risk of developing glaucoma than European people. So I think for us, especially our focus on the glaucoma, we wanted to disseminate this information a bit more, because it's a condition that people commonly describe as a silent destroyer, because it doesn't just produce symptoms until an advanced stage, and that's normally whereby damage is caused and it can't be undone. So by having this information about glaucoma, we hope that patients are more aware of it and how they can better control it, and understand when we talk about using drops, how it's important to adhere to drops, or if we're talking about surgery, understand why we're talking about surgery and why make these decisions, because we include the evidence that bases the decisions. And in the other modules for uveitis and macular degeneration, they also cover these areas. So it's just a way of making patients fully aware of their conditions and the implications it can cause.
Okay. And is there any plans to kind of create them for different eye conditions, perhaps?
Yes, absolutely. So, as you said, at the moment we have the glaucoma module and macular degeneration module and the uveitis module, and we're currently planning to develop a module for eye conditions related to diabetes. This is very important because diabetes is very prevalent especially in the Asian community. And we're also planning to produce a module on cataract. Again, something that's very common. Cataract surgery is the most common operation performed in the NHS. So if we have all of these modules available, then it targets many different people with different eye conditions. So hopefully it can be a great resource for many, many people.
Great, that sounds fantastic. We've just had a question come in through from Jayashree in London. What typically can you expect from these courses? So from the beginning right through to the end, what can someone expect?
Shall I take this one, Chin?
Yeah, I don't mind.
We can both. Yeah, go ahead.
You can start, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it starts off by the glaucoma module, for example, starts off by talking about what glaucoma is. So it defines glaucoma, explains what the actual condition means, what the eye pressure means, and how this affects the vision of the patient. And then it goes through all the different types of glaucoma, because there are many different types of glaucoma, and each patient in the glaucoma clinic will have something different. So we go through all of these in detail, explaining what the diagnosis is and how we diagnose it, what the investigations are. So, for example, when you have visual field tests, we explain what that is and what sorts of things we look for. And then it goes on to talk about the treatment. So that covers all the different eye drops, and we look into each eye drop in detail. So how does the eye drop work? What sort of side effects does it cause? And again, the same for laser and the same for surgery. So there's many different types of laser and surgery for glaucoma. And we talk about all of these and what the procedure involves on the day. So how to prepare for the operation, when you come in for the operation, what to expect, and then what to expect after the operation or after the laser procedure. And this is really helpful because, as we said, in clinic, we rarely have time to go into this level of detail.
Yeah, exactly right. And also we talk about the future of glaucoma because lots of patients do ask us about future research and future development. So we also look into that and talk about upcoming investigations that are looking at different ways of combating glaucoma, because at the moment the only way that we can control glaucoma is by the pressure, but we know it's a condition that's affected by many factors such as genetics or such as environment. So there are really exciting projects that are coming ahead looking at different ways of targeting glaucoma, and particularly neuroprotection is something that's being developed at the moment. So there's a nice section about that and talking about what patients might be expecting to hear in the near future. So that is something very, very exciting to share with patients as well.
Yeah,
We also talk.
Sorry.
We also talk about what it means to have glaucoma and how to live with glaucoma. So, for example, its impact on your daily life, the impact on driving. So these are all kind of common things that affect your day-to-day that you may not necessarily have information about that are there in the course.
Yeah, that sounds like the added bit of information that you don't necessarily get from your appointments, that you don't necessarily know about. So I think that's really good to know. I've had another question to come in from Gopna in Surrey. She says her daughter was just diagnosed with uveitis a year ago and hasn't yet opened up or started talking about it to the rest of the family. She wants to know if it's something that people have to register to access this content, and can one person from a family, more than one person from a family, join? So if she registered, wanted to find that information, but from a parent perspective wanted to also access this, can they do that?
At the moment, it's still not fully finished, so it's still under development, and the mode of access is still being discussed. There's different formats of this, so there will be the online version that can be accessed at the Moorfields educational site, but there's also an e-brochure, which is a shortened version of the course that is free to everyone and can be accessed anywhere. So that's something definitely that your listener can access as a relative, and doesn't mean you need to register for that. But in terms of the course, which is going to be 10 hours approximately, at the moment it may be discounted from its original price of £50, but there was also discussion that it may be free, so we're still waiting that, but once we get that information we'll be able to let you know and inform your listeners about it.
Okay, great. Let's go to our next track, and then we'll pick this up after listening to It's Om Shanti Om from the film Cars.
मैंने कभी किसी से प्यार किया? किया। कभी किसी को दिल दिया? दिया। मैंने भी दिया। ला 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 मेरी उम्र के नौजवानों, दिल न लगाना ओ दीवानों। मैंने प्यार करके चैन खोया, नींद खोई। अरे झूठ तो कहते नहीं है, कहते नहीं है लोग कोई। ए प्यार से बढ़कर नहीं है, बढ़कर नहीं है रोग कोई। चलता नहीं है दिल दे के यारो इस दिल पे जोर कोई। इस रोग का नहीं है इलाज दुनिया में और कोई। तो गाओ ओ शांति ओ शांति शांति ओम शांति ओम शांति शांति मैंने किसी को दिल दे के कर ली रातें खराब। देखो आया नहीं अभी तक उधर से, आया नहीं अभी तक उधर से कोई जवाब। देखो वो ना कहेंगे तो खुदकशी भी कर जाऊंगा मैं यारो, वो ना कहेंगे तो खुदकशी भी कर जाऊंगा मैं यारो। वो हाँ कहेंगे तो भी खुशी से मर जाऊंगा मैं यारो। तो गाओ ओ शांति ओम शांति शांति ओम शांति ओम शांति शांति नजर का पहला सलाम लेकर हर एक सांस लेता हूँ अब मैं उसका ही नाम लेकर, उसका ही नाम लेकर। मेरे हजारों दीवाने अब मैं खुद बन गया दीवाना, मेरे हजारों दीवाने अब मैं खुद बन गया दीवाना। ये वक्त तुम पे आ जाए प्यार में तो ये गीत गाना। सिंग हो शांति ओ शांति शांति ओ शांति ओ शांति शांति। मेरी उम्र के नौजवानों दिल न लगाना ओ दीवानो। मैंने प्यार करके चैन खोया नींद खोई। अरे झूठ तो कहते नहीं है, कहते नहीं है लोग कोई। ए कोई, इस रोग का नहीं है इलाज दुनिया में और कोई। तो गाओ ओम शांति, ओम शांति शांति, ओम शांति, ओम शांति शांति।
You're listening to me, Bhavini Makwana on BHF Radio. You've just heard Om Shanti Om from the film Cars and a remix version of Piya Tu Ab To Aaja. Dr. Sana and Dr. Chinedu, welcome back. I just wanted to sort of elaborate on, so these courses that we're discussing today, how can they support patients or family or professionals along their journey?
Yeah, so these courses really support patients and their families in different ways. And I think the main thing is that by empowering patients with knowledge about their eye condition, it allows them to work in partnership with their doctor or with their healthcare professional. And that's really important when it comes to making important decisions about your eye treatment, such as if you're going to undergo a big eye operation. To make that decision in an informed manner is, again, as we said, really powerful. And it helps support families because it helps families to support you when you're undergoing that treatment. Other things such as knowing why you take a certain eye drop, for example, will encourage you to use that eye drop more. And we know that, studies have shown that by understanding why you're taking a certain treatment, you're likely to adhere to it. And overall, this will ultimately improve the satisfaction you have with your care as well as the outcome of your eye condition. So, some people after their appointments, for example, will look up things on Google, but we know that, what you read on Google isn't necessarily relevant to you or evidence-based. Sometimes it's not accurate. So actually having something that is reliable, evidence-based, and it's been looked at by or written by doctors who are specialists in the field is reassuring.
And you say evidence-based, so I'm guessing that means you've also included patients in this?
Exactly. So in terms of the way we wrote the course, we had patient experts review the material. So patients who have the eye condition are very involved in their care, have reviewed the material and given us feedback about it. So by having their input, it's made the course very much tailored to the patient, as well as including all of the, for example, the studies that we usually use to treat glaucoma patients. So there's many different studies carried out, and that's the evidence we have for the way we manage the condition. So we've combined that with the input from the patient experts to put all the information together.
And what's interesting about this is that, you've mentioned that it's available in a variety of languages. And what really draws me to that is, just taking me back to when I was diagnosed at the age of 17. I was the first person to be diagnosed with my eye condition. So, me, myself, and my family had no idea what retinitis pigmentosa was, how I came about being diagnosed with it. And, my mom, she can speak English, but she's not very fluent. So for those that may not speak English as their first language or may not even be that fluent in it, it's great that these courses have been provided in a variety of languages. Now, is it the case where you have the information spoken to you by someone in a different language, or is it the software that allows you to be able to translate?
As we mentioned, there are some videos that we're including in the course. So those will have narrations from different languages, as well as the e-brochures, which I mentioned before, are shortened version of the course. They will be in different languages. So that will be probably most likely to be in a written format.
Excellent. So, it's a variety of reading, listening to videos. So you've got a variety of content. So you're not just sort of at your computer. And, I think the beauty about it is that you can sort of read a section of it, go away and digest it, and then come back later on and continue with it. So I think that's quite good about it as well.
Exactly.
I'm happy that you highlighted that, because I think that's really important, because, information can be scary and overwhelming. So it's really important to pull it in a way that's easily digestible and something that you can go back to. You don't have to do it in one go. You can take your time, you can, reflect on stuff. There are bits whereby we encourage reinforcement of information. So there's some tests that are involved in there, and there's some quizzes which just make it fun and interactive, because we really want to, the most important thing is to make this information relevant but also comprehensible. That's really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can people access these courses? Like, when are they available from?
So at the moment, the macular degeneration module is complete and accessible, and we're hoping in the next few months the glaucoma module and the uveitis module will be complete. They will be hosted on the Moorfields Eye Hospital education website, so you can go on that website via Google or your web browser, and here you'll be able to access the course itself, as well as the associated materials like the brochures that Dr. Chinedu spoke about.
We've just had a question come in from Dipti Trivedi. She's asking, do you have to be a Moorfields patient to access these courses, or can anyone around the UK, and she actually says, or even abroad, access them?
Absolutely, anyone can access them. It's not restricted to Moorfields patients. So people in the UK, globally, that's what we want to do. We want to share this information to everyone. It's important that, healthcare isn't restricted to certain people. It should be, accessible to all.
Thanks for clarifying that, Dipti. Thanks for that question. I think it's a very useful one to know. And coming up towards the end of this segment, is this course free to access for patients or professionals or whoever may be wanting to access them?
So at the moment, they have a cost of £50, but there are discussions going on to make these either free, completely free, or subsidised in some way, or in some way. So we are really hoping to get these available to people, so that without payment, and that's our priority, really.
Yeah, and we were talking off air that we're going to look into the fact that once you've got this course, is it available to you for life? Is it is there like a limited time for when these courses will be available to you once you've accessed them, or is it the case that you've got them and you can look at it, I don't know, 2-3 years down the line? So that would be really interesting to know, and we can inform our listeners once we've got that information available. Dr. Sana and Dr. Chinedu, I just want to say thank you so much for coming onto my show here on BHF Radio and informing our listeners about this incredible resource that's going to be valuable, because I know for myself and for many people it's going to be so useful. Is there anything final you just want to mention?
Yeah, I think we touched on a lot of the content of the course, and one area that we just wanted to mention, that there is a section about the support that's available to patients with the condition. So as you mentioned before, like having a diagnosis of an eye condition, it's really important that you're aware of all the support that's available. And one of the most amazing resources that we have is something called an eye clinic liaison officer. So in the course, that will talk a bit more about their roles and how they're a great medium between doctors and patients and the community, and how they can help patients live, maintain their independence, but be aware of all the information and facilities that are accessible to them. So that's something that we talk about, as well as all the different charities and all the other organisations that are amazing in helping patients with sight loss.
Yeah, that's good.
And I just wanted to mention that if any of your listeners are interested or keen to be involved in reviewing the material, then that's very welcome, and we would be happy to discuss that. as some patients might want to review the material and give us feedback about it, and then we can tailor it accordingly.
Thank you. I think that's a really nice offer to end on. And I just want to say thank you to both of you for joining me today and coming on air and talking about this.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. Have a lovely day.
Great. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
The next song we're going to listen to is Dolare Dol Vage from Priti Vasani.
तारे घर बे घुमो वो सेने सोरी बान बोला वो रे आओ तो ओरी आँख लेटी नी तेजाली से दोरी हर मोरी वो है आजे रीत तू भी सीख ले ढोली डालो ते अगीत से ताली पड़ी ने तू ही चले
That was Dolare Dol Vage from Priti Vasani and Pale Patel. Hope you enjoyed that track. Happy Navratri, happy Chaitanya Navratri to all those celebrating, and don't forget today on Bolton Hindu Forum, Zoom, there will be celebrations this evening, and if you would like to sing, head over to Bolton Hindu Forum Facebook page, where you can find out how to contact Maya Ben and Gala Ben and or join in with the celebrations. We also have the Duke of Edinburgh's funeral being showed. It will be on air from 12:30 on most of the channels, so if you are going to be watching that, it's available on most channels. Thank you for listening today. We'll be back next Saturday at 10 a.m. on BHF Radio, and until then, it's bye from me, Bhavini, Makwana, and
Paresh.
we are going to leave you with the final song, which is a remix of Jab Koi Baat, and it's from Atif Aslam.
जब कोई बात बिगड़ जाए, जब कोई मुश्किल पड़ जाए, तुम देना साथ मेरा, ओ हमनवा।
जब कोई बात बिगड़ जाए, जब कोई मुश्किल पड़ जाए, तुम देना साथ मेरा, ओ हमनवा। हो चांदनी जब तक रात देता है हर कोई साथ, तुम मगर अंधेरों में ना छोड़ना मेरा हाथ। हो चांदनी जब तक रात